Thursday, June. Now it is Thursday, June 20th. Let's go ahead and just introduce everybody if we can. Let's go totally backwards, and we'll start down at this end instead of starting with Rosie.
All right, Chad Anderson, Salt Lake County Public Works Engineering on behalf of Kearns.
Craig Smith, Ur City Council.
Steve Gale, Morgan City Mayor.
Ben Hewitt with UDOT.
Tiffany Pocock with UDOT.
Sherry Bingham, Mayor of Hooper City.
Harvey, Weaver County.
Wayne Benyon, Wasatch Front Regional Council staff.
I'm Andrew Gruber, Executive Director here at WFRC.
Andrea Pearson, WFRC.
Jeff Acerson, UTA.
Lauren Palmer, Mayor in Harriman.
Dan Dugan, Salt Lake City Council.
Ed Knowlton, Deputy Director, WFRC.
Jordan Chandler, WFRC.
Rosie Hernandez, WFRC.
Joellen Grandy with Layton City.
There we go. Mindy Hunsaker with Layton City.
Kip Billings, Wasatch Front.
Alden Bingham, I'm a citizen and I'm Mayor Bingham's chauffeur today.
Dallin Barrowman, WFRC Long Range Planning Intern.
Nate Nelson with West Jordan City.
David Mitchell, Davis County.
Ben Withrich, WFRC staff.
Thank you. And then we got some people online. If you would like to introduce yourself, I guess we'll start with Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin Van Tassel, UDOT Commission.
Thank you. Mayor Bush.
Mayor Kelly Bush with Kearns City.
Mayor Harris.
Kendall Harris with Bountiful City.
And then Ken.
Yes, Ken Ritchie with Ogden City Council.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. We have minutes to approve from the April 25th Transcom meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Are there any corrections, additions? Seeing none, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the meeting minutes of April 25th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Well, we all recognize the importance of making our roadways safe for pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers. And so you'll recall that in March, WFRC Regional Council established a goal of working toward reducing roadway fatalities and serious injuries for all users. And that, at our April Transcom meeting, we adopted the Wasatch Front Regional Council comprehensive safety action plan. The purpose of this plan is to provide local governments tools to improve roadway safety in their communities. And so I'd like to ask Kip Billings to give us talk briefly about the progress towards the goal and reducing fatalities and serious injuries.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to give you a brief overview of the goals and next steps in our comprehensive safety action plan. This body and the council adopted a resolution, if you will, setting a goal of reducing fatalities and serious injuries by 2.5% compared to the previous 3-year average. So that would look something like this chart here, although we haven't had the opportunity to implement the safety strategies necessary, but this is what that would look like. You would take the average of 2020, 21, and 22, reduce that 2.5%. Where did we stand in 2023? We did not meet that goal. It does look like fatalities were coming down, but again, we haven't had the opportunity to implement the safety strategies outlined in our comprehensive safety action plan. But this is the kind of report we'll be bringing back on an annual basis. As far as our next steps, we are working on a Safe Streets for All supplemental planning grant. We're looking at doing some roadway safety assessments. That's a detailed review of a corridor down to, are there segments of the sidewalk that are uneven? Are there trees and shrubs that need to be pruned? What is the condition of the pavement and the striping? Does the traffic signal timing need to be updated? Very detailed, and from those details, project scopes can be put together and apply for specific projects to implement those improvements. We're also considering including what we call V2X. We just had a meeting on this morning, and Wayne or Mayor Shepherd, Wayne's going to tell us a little more about that. But that may be the silver bullet we're looking for that makes this zero fatalities not just an aspirational goal, but something that's very realistic to achieve. So we'll hear more about that later. The grant we're looking for is $200,000. There is a local match of 20% required, and we'd be looking to approach the cities that are involved in the selected corridors to participate in that. The deadline for that application is August 29th. So just in general, the paradigm shift that we're trying to accomplish here with our approach to safety, relying on Safe Streets for All grants alone is not going to get us there. There are funds available. They tend to be big ticket items. They're looking at like 50 projects nationwide. So for our state of Utah, maybe we get one or two of those implementation grants. However, on the other side of the ledger, each year, whether it's STP, CMAQ, carbon reduction program, transportation alternative program, anyway, there's over 50 projects that we sponsored last year. And if we can bring in some of these comprehensive safety action plan elements and add safety improvements to each of these, that helps us achieve the safety improvements we're looking for. So our safety action plan is available on the website. I think Jordan has put that in the chat box as well. So you're welcome to refer to that whenever you're planning and implementing roadway projects that can improve those projects significantly if we're making that part of our planning process.
Okay, thank you, Kip. Any questions for Kip? All right, we appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the report. And then you may have heard that the Federal Highway Administrator, Shaylin Bott, was here in Salt Lake this morning. For those of you who weren't aware, he was here this morning to announce the awarding of a $60 million to 3 states to advance technologies that improve safety. So Wayne was there. Wayne, you want to fill us in on how that went?
Sure. And then others that were there can chime in if they'd like. So UDOT, in partnership with UTA and Salt Lake City, and as well as with Colorado DOT and Wyoming DOT, received a grant for $20 million to further advance this vehicle to everything technology. So then V2X, vehicles to everything, vehicles to vehicles, vehicles to people, vehicles to infrastructure. And a primary purpose of this technology is to save lives by providing information to drivers and vehicles, regarding conditions, roadway conditions that are beyond their line of sight. So giving them advance notice of situations that are likely to result in a crash or an existing crash. So by instituting technology where there's vehicle to vehicle communication, vehicle to people communication, furthering that along can help us avoid crashes. And as Kip mentioned, we're going to work at including a vehicle to everything technology element in this planning application that we're planning to apply for. And so with that, anything else you'd like to add, Ben?
Yeah, thanks, Wayne and everyone. So yeah, there was that event this morning that highlighted this great grant award that was made to UDOT. I think this technology area, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of hope that this is some of the, like Kip mentioned, this is going to take us to the next level when it comes to safety. And there's a lot of mobility benefits with this as well. But I think some of the examples they talked about today, you talked about vehicle to infrastructure. I mean, it's stuff like, one of the examples they talked about is a bridge being iced up and that being able to be communicated to a car, as you're driving, so that they can, you can slow down and things like that. So it's some of the stuff that you may be already aware of, but then it's some other stuff that, we haven't probably not broad awareness of yet. But there's just a lot of opportunity. There was great discussions this morning with those representatives from USDOT and, different associations and manufacturer groups even. You think about UTA, UTA buses and our snow plows, the mobility implications of this are there's a lot of great opportunity here. So we're excited. I think there was a lot of commitment earlier today to keep collaborating with our local partners and such, and keep the momentum going. But yeah, it was awesome to receive some money to keep it going. And yeah, thank you, everyone. We'll see. They already talked about, the timelines and stuff like that. So they're already, I overheard many conversations during that event about like ordering different little pieces of, all the technology stuff that I don't even know what the acronyms they were using on all these little units that are going to be help with this wireless technology in our infrastructure and everything. So yeah, a lot of excitement, and we'll see where it goes. But
Very cool.
yeah,
Appreciate it. Anything else?
Well, I just know I see Salt Lake County Council Member Ann Granado has her hand up. So
Oh, okay.
I just had a quick question. There has been a lot of outreach to both the county and Salt Lake City from this Rio Grande project about burying the railways around the Rio Grande. Has anyone reached out to Wasatch Front about that?
Council Member, yes, that's actually a subject that we've had a lot of dialogue about with Salt Lake City, Salt Lake County, UTA, and there was an analysis that was done through Salt Lake City. Council Member Dugan is nodding his head about the possibilities, the feasibility of doing that. It would be a large project, an exciting project, and I would say it's still under study. Does that answer your question, or is there something in more detail you'd want to talk about?
No, that answers my question. How would we access the study and the analysis? Or is that not public yet?
No, I can, this is Councilmember Dan Dugan from Salt Lake City. I can get you that study, the feasibility study that our transportation department, city transportation department conducted this past year, and I can get you that study. I also want to let you know, yeah.
That would be awesome. Thank you. The gentleman that is spearheading this keeps presenting to the council, and I'd like to have something to be able to go back to him with.
Sure, love it. And
thank you.
And we're also, Salt Lake City was also received a grant from the feds. I say the feds, right?
That encompasses all
That
of them.
encompasses
Yeah.
a big group, right? Of a couple $1 million to conduct a study for the east-west connection. It's not specifically for the Rio Grande plan, but it is a study to better connect the east side from the west side of Salt Lake City. We have the funding. We're now looking for doing the RFP with UDOT on that process right now.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Mr. Chair, if I could, just one supplemental comment about the announcement this morning and the vehicle to everything technology. This technology is already being utilized in Utah. One of the things that's amazing, and some of you know this, some of you don't, may not, but the signals, the traffic signals in the state of Utah, we have more connectivity of our traffic signals speaking to each other, if you will, more than any other state in the nation. UDOT, through its Traffic Operations Center, manages these traffic signals. So whether they are owned by the state or owned by counties or owned by cities, the overwhelming majority of the traffic signals are controlled out of the Traffic Operations Center, which means they can be adjusted in real time to help traffic flow as effectively as possible.
So why every time I pull up to a stoplight, it's red? It's 'cause
That's
they
right.
know it's me?
They know it's you. Yes,
Do it.
that's it, yeah. Well, use the mic.
I've been blackballed by UDOT because I hit those like 90% of the time. I'm really good at it. So if anybody needs some luck or if I could get off that list, I'd really appreciate that.
Now you know they're watching you on a camera and they're.
It's the speed at which you travel. That's gets you in trouble.
As much as I think we would like to have nobody ever hit a red light, that is physically impossible. So Mayor, Commissioner, I'm sorry. This technology that we're talking about now is designed to, as Wayne said, as Ben said, bring more of the system into communicating. So there's a lot of this that's on the private sector side. So vehicles having the technology to communicate with the infrastructure, with the traffic signals, vehicles with each other. So there's a safety element to it, as Wayne said. If you can only see the car in front of you, but you can't see a few lengths in front of you, what if somebody is stepping on their brakes hard a few lengths in front of you? Your car could know that before you can see it. Or if you're coming around a turn and there's an accident, you can't see it. Your vehicle could know it. Your vehicle could know that the bridge has icy conditions. Right now in transit, Commissioner Acerson, Trustee Acerson, there is transit signal priority on some of UTA's routes, UTA coordinating with UDOT and with cities and counties, so that when the bus is pulling up to a traffic signal, the traffic signal can stay green longer, or the red cycle can end shorter. Yes, Commissioner Harvey, we're treating buses more special than you and your vehicle. So that the buses can move faster and be more reliably on schedule. Ben, Tiffany, the snowplows that UDOT utilizes are equipped with this vehicle to everything technology so that there's more efficient movement of the snowplows. So the possibilities with this are really amazing. For local governments, most of you that are in the room represent local governments. You may be thinking, like, what does this have to do with me? Well, you own infrastructure, you operate infrastructure. And at a roundtable discussion that happened after the announcement, there was a fair amount of discussion about how to get information out about this vehicle to everything technology to local governments. And a recognition that most local governments don't have the technological staffing or expertise to sort of know exactly how to deploy. So we're engaged in dialogue with UDOT and USDOT about providing more info to you about what grants might be available to enhance your systems. So more to come on that. And it really ties back into what Kip was saying before about the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan and the grants that are available to try to deploy this type of technology. It can really be a game changer in the functionality of our transportation system.
Very cool.
Andrew?
Yes, Dan.
On that, Chair. One question on that, because I saw it on the list of projects we had with some signal prioritization in different areas. And I know Salt Lake City has been in communications, I'm not sure with UTA or the UDOT about track signals. Specifically, I'm thinking about 400 South. So is that that's all part of this V to X, or is that a separate conversation? Prioritization, the track sign going down 4 South, so they're not stopping.
Yes, signal priority is, we've been engaged with UTA, and our UDOT team and our traffic operations team has been engaged with identifying all the locations that we have signal priority, and then if there are any other issues. But I think that's a continued conversation that it can be related in certain instances with this V2X, but we're doing that already and having those conversations already separately as well.
And council member, I note Nicole Bordeaux, UTA's Chief of Planning and Engagement, is online. Nicole, you raised your hand. You want to comment?
Yeah, if I could, thank you. Ben's absolutely correct. I just wanted to also add, this is something part of our modernization of tracks. So if you've heard us talk about that in TechLink, in the Technic study, we are looking at uh, transit signal priority along the 4 South corridor, as well as all of our tracks in Salt Lake County, and how we can make that improvement. So that will continue. We've started early. As Ben said, we're continuing that study, but it will also go along with that modernization piece of our tracks program. So we've been working heavily, and we've already made some changes along the 4 South corridor, I think 2100 South, Redwood Road. So we've had some tweaks already, and we're studying those as we speak. And we'll come back with some data that we could even present to the council, and come back to UDOT as well to see what changes have been made and the changes it's done to our reliability and speed along the way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else? Okay, well, I just want to recognize we've got some others that have joined us since. We've got Mayor Smolka, Mayor Jepson, and Mayor Miller that have joined us online, and Mayor Silvestrini, who is here in person with us. Welcome to the meeting. That brings us to our public comment period. Is there anyone here from the public who is here to address us today? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move forward. Item number 4 is our Transportation Improvement Program discussion. We have a few items today in regard to the TIP. The first 2 are regarding amendments to the existing 2024-2029 TIP, and the last is Transcom's annual opportunity to release the new draft TIP. And so for now, we'll cover the first one. We'll turn the time over to Ben.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we're a little on the delay. We just want to make sure that we know how to spell TIP and that it stays in the forefront of our mind. And of course, can't forget the logo there. Thanks, logo. Anyway, so as the chair indicated, we do have 3 items, but wanted to separate these out just a little so that you have in your mind clear of what we need to do or the opportunities that we have for today's meeting. So we have a report on the board modification. That material is in your meeting materials, as well as we'll have a new board modification that we want to present to this body for your review and approval. And then review with you for your recommendation to release the 2030 Transportation Improvement Program and the associated air quality conformity analysis for public review and comment. So an exciting opportunity we have today. So first on the item, before we go through, I want to remind you a little and refresh our thoughts or what the Transportation Improvement Program is. So the Transportation Improvement Program is a 6-year program of the highway transit and active transportation projects. We consider the front 4 years, or the first 4 years, as funded years, and in the back 2 years, we consider that concept development years. It's for both of our urban areas, the Salt Lake urban area, which is essentially from North Salt Lake down to Utah County. Then the Ogden-Layton area is from Salt Lake all the way up to Brigham City. It's projects that are funded with federal, state, and local programs, and it's for all of the cities, the counties, UDOT, and UTA. Transportation Improvement Program will implement the long-range plans for the highway transit and active transportation projects. It'll help us meet the short-range needs along the Wasatch Front, as well as provide for the maintenance of our existing system. The transportation or the TIP will include the new construction projects that'll perform the rehab and maintenance, safety and intelligent transportation systems, or ITS, transit operating and maintenance, and pedestrian and bicycle projects. The TIP represents hundreds of millions, not just a few dollars, but hundreds of millions of dollars. It's thousands of jobs. It's those projects that help our economic growth and development, provides our mobility and access, preserves the life and the quality of life that we've become accustomed to. The law requires that the TIP be financially constrained, conforms to the air quality, that it be reviewed by the public and approved by the regional council. So to jump back then on our 3 items that we're going to cover, the first one, item 4A, is the board modification that the regional council reviewed back in May. That material is identified in your meeting materials. There are 4 tables that identify each of the projects that were reviewed and approved. And then there's a resolution or a signed resolution in your packet. Are there any questions on any of that material? Great. Mr. Chair, may I proceed with item 4B? Thank you. So this is the board modification and before you today for your review and hopefully for your approval. In this material, you'll also, or in your meeting materials, you'll see the tables. And then there's a resolution in that. We'll go through each of the projects that have been identified. So the first project that we have that's on our tables here is a project in Davis County. This is a project on 650 North. This project will construct dual left or dual right turn lanes. The way the current system is, you can see 1900 West there to the left and in that segment there in the middle. Well, 1900 West turns on the 650 and then you can see we've got dual lefts and a right turn that go on to that right turn lane that goes on to the southbound I-15 ramps. The intent of this project is to construct dual right turn lanes dual right turn lanes off of 650 onto the on-ramps of I-15, reducing any, I just can't think of the right words, any points of conflict. That was that fancy word I was looking for. So this will do dual right. The request is to add 500,000 in additional funds, making this total estimated project cost of 1.8 million. The next project is a project in West Jordan. This project is on 70th South and 1500 West. Right here in front of a little elementary school called Heartland Elementary. The intent of this project is to construct a pedestrian bicycle facility over 70th South. Now, the city has done well to secure the right-of-way already for this pedestrian structure. Maybe a little something, this is a very busy road, and on the long-range plan, this project's projected to go to 7 lanes of traffic. Currently, well, back when this body approved funds, this was back in 2017, Transcom recommended funding for this project at $1.49 million plus. Now, a little more about this project is in this particular location, Heartland Elementary School is a Title I school. And most of the students are to the north, but there are students that come from the south. There's more than 250 ped crossings in the morning and more than 250 ped crossings in the evening. Title I school, there's a lot more foot traffic at a Title I school than there is drop-off traffic. So we've got a very busy facility that runs along the front of the school with only crosswalks. During a busy time of the day, there's 2 crossing guards on the ped crossing or on the crosswalk just because of the amount of kids that are coming through that particular area. And there currently there's signals that identify. So not only is there a significant drop in the traffic or the traffic needs to stop, but there's a lot of children and a lot of pedestrians across this facility. Well, that's good during the school day, during the school hours, but some of the greater concerns happen on the weekend and happen before and after hours. This school also provides breakfast for a lot of the students that come and participate at the school. Well, initially, this project was going to salvage a bridge from a project that was on 106 South and 1300 West. And that's why the cost was down to 1.6 million. However, as the engineering began on this project, the existing structure would have required a lot of improvements done. It would have been cheaper to go with a brand new facility. So the idea or the intent was to construct a new bridge over this. In addition to that, because of the because of the geological study that was done, the foundation for that particular structure would have to be a lot larger, and so the costs were increased there. Then with 70th South being widened to a 7-lane, the size of the structure would also have to be increased. So the engineer's estimate then came in at $4.7+ million. Well, with the amount of the federal funds that were approved and the local match, we had 1.6+ million. West Jordan come to the table with an additional 1.25 million. But that still only gave us $2.8+ million. That gave us a shortfall of just under $2 million, and West Jordan is coming requesting that we provide an additional $1.9+ million for this particular facility. With the commitment too that the city is looking for additional funding to help minimize any of that impact to the STP program. And there's also a commitment to advertise this project by this fall. That brings us to the next tables that we have, and we actually have 2 tables that are referred to. These are our recreational trails program projects. Those that are in the lighter color are non-motorized, and the one project there in the darker color are for motorized traffic. Now, the Federal Recreational Trails Program was authorized by Congress back in 1991. That was under the Intermodal Surface Transportation Efficiency Act, or IST. This program is still considered or is still current under our Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act, or the IIJA. Funds may be used to provide and maintain trails for motorized and non-motorized use, for recreational uses, including trailside and trailhead facilities, and also provisions to facilitate access. Whoops, I jumped too quick. Anyway, to provide access for those with disabilities. These projects are selected and administered through the Utah State Park and Recreation Division. It's for projects that are motorized and non-motorized, and the revenue comes from the federal motor fuel tax. A portion to each state every year. Utah gets about 1.6 to about $2 million a year. And these funds may be combined with other projects. Here for 2025, we have 2.9+ million that the federal funds for 36 projects. And that with the local match is more than $13.7 million in projects. In the Wasatch Front area, we have 15 projects totaling 9.9+ million, and 1.2+ million of that is the RTP funds. The next projects that we have pertain to, or this table identifies projects that are being recommended or requested from Region 2. This is for the Transportation Alternative Program through the region. This program includes projects and activities and encompasses a variety of smaller scale projects, such as pedestrian and bicycle facilities, recreational trails, and safe routes to school projects. So Region 2, they conducted an application process to determine eligible projects, and they are requesting that we amend the 2024-2029 Transportation Improvement Program with these 5 TAP program or projects for the program. The first project that we have, actually, I guess I'll show you all 5. There they are. The first project that we show is in Murray City. This is a project on the Murray Parkway. This will construct missing sidewalks between 5400 South and Sunbury Drive. The estimated project cost is $490,000. TAP funds being contributed to the project are $150,000, and local contributions are $340,000. The next project is a project in Mill Creek. This is a Spring Hollow Drive and 2700 East project. This is to construct missing sidewalk. This project estimated cost Actually, you can see that car is parked right there in the crosswalk on the shoulder of the road. And you can see on the east side where we have a project that this body recommended and approved to address the sidewalk issues on the east side of the project. This particular project, the estimated cost is $66,000 plus for the improvements on the sidewalk construction. $40,000 of that's coming from the TAP funding. $26,000 plus is coming from local funding match. Our next project is a project in Salt Lake County. This is on Creek Road at 2162 East. This is to construct missing sidewalk in this location. The estimated project cost on this project is $184,000. TAP funds are $110,000 with local contributions of $74,000. The next project is also on Creek Road. This is in two locations, one at 2175 East and one at 7425 South. This is to construct missing sidewalk here at 2175 East. And in the project at 7425 South. This project is estimated to cost $262,000 with $150,000 coming from the TAP program and $112,000 coming from local contribution. Our last TAP project then is a project in West Valley. This is on 3650 South between 27th West and 3200 West. This is to be added to an existing project that this body approved or recommended and was approved by the council. It's improvements to 3650 South, but this particular request is to help address the missing sidewalk between 27th West and 3200 West. The estimated part for contribution there is $84,000 with $50,000 coming from the TAP funding and $34,000 coming from local contribution. That would be all that is part of this board modification, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ben. Any questions for Ben? Okay, well then we need a motion to approve the resolution to modify the 2024-2029 Transportation Improvement Program as requested.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That is unanimous. Ben, we'll turn the time back over to you for 4C.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is an opportunity where you have the responsibility to enable us to go forward for public review and comment on the draft 2030 tip. As we've had opportunity to prepare this material, it's also included with your meeting materials. We have a copy of the tables that includes all of the programs that the Wasatch Front Regional Council is responsible for. That's the urban STP funds or the Surface Transportation Program, the Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Program or the CMAQ funds, the Transportation Alternative Program or the TAP funds, as well as the Carbon Reduction Program or the CRP funds. In addition to that are the programs that the state takes the lead in programming, and that's all our other federal funds as well as state funds. And we also have those projects or the funds that UTA takes the lead in programming for our area. And then we have our air quality conformity memorandum, which shows that the 2030 tip conforms with those laws and requirements identified. With your permission and recommendation after today's meeting here, we would like to go out for public review and comments starting on the 29th of June, and which will conclude on the 3rd of August. During that time, we will have 2 open houses, one on the 9th in the Ogden-Layton urban area and one on the 16th in the Salt Lake urban area. Switch that around. The 16th is, or the 9th is Region 2 area, the Salt Lake urban area. and the 16th is the Ogden-Layton urban area. On the 7th of August, then we will bring that information back to our technical advisory committees and review with them any additional information collected during that public review and comment period, at which time they will make recommendations, which we will bring to this body on the 15th of August for this body's review and recommendation for approval to the regional council, who will meet the following Thursday. Then it's our hope and intention that on the 27th, we will submit our information to the Department of Transportation, who will combine all of that information from us and the other 3 MPOs and submit that information to Federal Highways and Federal Transit for their review during the month of September, with the hope and the intentions of coming back on October 1st with a brand new transportation improvement program, the 25-2030 Transportation Improvement Program. Then, just for your information, back in August is when we will also begin our next round requesting information or to seek letters of intent. Any questions on the schedule?
Quick question. The 9th and 16th meetings, is there a reason that we choose a Tuesday to do that on, knowing that most city councils have their meetings on Tuesdays?
No, we didn't even, didn't consider that. These 2 dates come out because most of the people that are involved in that were going to be in town and could participate so that we'd have proper staffing.
And I'll also note, if I may, the times on those open houses are 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. So hopefully there would be a way for elected officials to participate.
Very good.
Well, and I'll also add to that, the open houses are aimed principally at the general public. We try to make a lot of opportunities for local city officials to be aware of these projects and these programs outside of just the public meetings. I mean, we do it through meetings like this. All of the city and county public works directors are involved in the technical advisory committees. And so there's more notification going to the local governments. We also want to make sure that if the public wants to comment and review, they have that opportunity to do so as well.
Very good. Yeah, I really wasn't worried about the elected officials attending. I was more worried about the crossover with the public. And so whether they showed up at our council meetings or had to choose between the 2 different things going on in the same building potentially.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Ben,
But if we're 4 to 7, that's
okay.
That should be fine.
That's great. Then the hordes of people that show up to your city council meetings can also participate in these open houses.
That only happens in Layton.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
And Ben, you just to emphasize this again, there's also an ability to review and comment online in an interactive map for all the elements of the tip. Right?
That's correct. That's a good point, or a good lead on there.
Oh, there you go.
So we could go right onto the internet too as well, but this is awesome. Thank you, Andrew. So if you were to go onto our webpage, I'll go back just to get that webpage. It's pretty fancy. www.wfrc.org. Go into the Transportation Improvement Program. There'll also be a banner that goes across to make it easy to find. But when you go into that, then you also have the opportunity, as Andrew mentioned, to have an interactive map where you can actually pick on a project, get more details on the project, scroll around wherever you want throughout both urban areas and give the comments and give the input that you would, if you have any interest. Hopefully you have a lot of interest on all of these projects, but if you got the time to look in fact, I got a great idea. Oh, shoot. It's not to the end. So let me jump to this first and then we'll come back and just talk about a good idea for a review and public comment. But I want to review quick what's going to be included on this. So you'll recall that were the STP projects, right? We added an additional $1 million to a Clinton project. We added an additional $2.5 million to a Murray project. We've got the CMAQ projects that were in there, and we've got both of them. Here's a couple of examples there. We've got the Davis Salt Lake connector. We've also got the South Jordan Trail Connector project. Both of those projects recommended with high flying colors. We've got our TAP programs with projects that were recommended. Here's the Upper Slough. And we've got a project here in,
Pardon me, Mr. Chair. How did you say that town again?
I said Upper, but I should have
you.
said
Hooper.
Upper. Yes. I knew I was gonna mess up, but thanks, Commissioner. Sorry, Mayor. And then something that for this year, our first time is some programming to fix and to maintain our green bike program. This program's been going on since 2013. Some of the things are wearing out. We've got the CRP program there where there were projects there. There's the intersection up in Roy and another project there in Sandy, which is an intersection which had CRP as well as some CMAQ money. But that's not the only things in the TIP document you're gonna read. You can read about projects that have big tractors and large trucks that drive over them. Capacity type projects. The Department of Transportation, we're very fortunate. We've got a lot going on throughout the area. We've also got projects for our rehab and our maintenance going on all around us. Our safety and our ITS, as well as we've got projects in our transit, operations and maintenance. And then, of course, we've got our pedestrian, our bicycle facilities on this program. So there is a lot of important projects that are identified in the Transportation Improvement Program. Hence this great idea I have. So here it is, picture this. There you are this weekend about to watch a movie. Wouldn't it be cooler to log on to WFRC and watch the TIP?
My
Pull
wife
out that
can't wait.
interactive map. It will be an activity that will never be forgotten. Well, it could be one of the highlights, but
I don't know if
anyway.
Nielsen can count that high on their ratings.
Ben, I'm just going to tell you that if I sit down with my wife to watch WFRC.org, we're having ice cream and I'm talking about projects with her.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That would be all we have for this portion.
Awesome. Any questions for Ben? Yes, Wayne?
I'll just note, near the start of the public comment period, we'll send you a link to that interactive map so that you'll have that accessible when you can click on projects and comment that way. Or if you'd rather reach out to Ben or myself or others, you're welcome to do that also.
This is a never-ending process, as you saw from the calendar.
Ongoing.
Before we finish the one, we're starting the other.
I just got one comment. If I was to sit down with my wife and not watch a movie and pull that map up, she would say, is anything ever coming to Morgan?
Yes. But we may have to add an additional map on there for you. But yes, with the Department of Transportation working on that, a lot of those projects come through the Joint Highways Committee.
Okay, well then, folks, we need a motion to approve the release of the 2025-2030 TIP, air quality conform, and the air quality conformity determination for public review.
Jeff Silverstream, I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second from Councilmember Dugan. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, well, we have a.
For sure. I'm sorry, just very briefly, a note of appreciation. As Ben was describing all the moving pieces here, you can sense that there's a high level of coordination that has to happen. There's many funding programs, federal funding programs that we have the opportunity to manage, and UDOT does as well, funding that flows through UTA, city and county. It won't surprise you that the federal programs have oftentimes have significant procedural requirements that we have to navigate. The counties have funding, the cities have funding, and all of this has to be coordinated together. And so I want to express appreciation for Ben, Wayne, Kip, our team, the work that they do. Their goal is to make all of this as easy and efficient as possible for the local governments. There are some inefficiencies that occur because of additional process, but by working collaboratively, we make it as efficient as can possibly be, so that as little burden for the local communities as possible. And as much of the money goes directly to the projects to actually make a difference in the community. So thanks to our team, and then also to UDOT and to UTA and the cities and the counties and all of your staffs that work together to make this work. So thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Ben. Well, we have a kind of a cool opportunity today to hear from a couple of our cities to report on projects that they've done that wouldn't have happened without funding through Transcom. And so we've got Mayor Bush and Chad Anderson from Kearns. And I think we'll start with you two, and then we get to hear from a couple of Layton council members.
All right, I'm Chad Anderson with Salt Lake County Public Works Engineering. We provide engineering services to some of the municipalities through the Greater Salt Lake Municipal Services District. So today I get to talk about the Cougar Lane improvements. It's a project at about 60% design right now. And it was funded, like you said, by WFRC. So I'll just dive into it. Show you what we're doing with the money. Okay, so the original problem is this is 5415 South on the north side and Cougar Lane down to Kearns High School. So you can see eastbound drivers turning onto Cougar Lane end up in the right lane on Cougar Lane. There's two left turn lanes off of 5415 South onto Cougar Lane. And then there is a place where drivers had to merge before they get down to this east-west street because that lane swings off of Cougar Lane. That was causing a lot of congestion and backing up onto 5415 South. So that was kind of the original problem. It had been identified in Kearns 2020 Master Transportation Plan. You can see there. The plan originally was to extend a second southbound lane on Cougar Lane from Niagara Way to Kearns High Drive and widen the road. See there. There was another plan on Kearns Active Transportation Plan to add a side path. So this project, I guess I'll come back to that, but originally the plan was to widen Cougar Lane, but there's some challenges on the north side with grading. And so WFRC and UDOT actually helped to shape this project into what it is today, basically to restripe the road and to use the space on the road more efficiently, basically to move the bike lane to a shared use path on the west side. So you can see the proposed restriping here, kind of an overall view. And this is zoomed in. So you can see there are now two lanes that go through that intersection that there was only one before. That's this intersection at Niagara Way. And then it continues south, north is to the right on this. And then we have just one through lane after Kearns High Drive. This is, Kearns High Drive is where the Kearns Ochre Park Fitness Center, basically the Olympic ice skating rink is there. So I'll come back to that. So yeah, a big aspect of the project is to add this shared use path to the west side of the road, which it's going to be 6 feet of green pavement to designate the bike lane and 6 feet of just regular gray pavement for the pedestrian portion of the path. Saves a lot of money, obviously, over widening the road itself. It does require additional right-of-way. Part of the effort to save, I guess to make the project more efficient was there's a lot of utilities that are in the park strip between that back of curb on the west side of Cougar Lane and the existing sidewalk. There's an existing 6-foot sidewalk. And so we're just widening that sidewalk to the west and acquiring some right-of-way instead. There's also, in the same process with restriping the road, there is a bike lane on the east side of the road that we're converting to a buffered bike lane to improve safety there. I'll skip back to kind of show that here. So you can see this is right in front of the high school. And the bike lane on the east side, that bottom side is now buffered. Whereas previously it was unbuffered. Associated with the project, we also are milling and overlaying, much of Cougar Lane. And with that come pedestrian ramp upgrades. So we're replacing all those that are circled in yellow. And associated with that, we're also improving drainage at the north side of the road. You can see the slope, comes steeply to 5415 south. Anyway, by the time stormwater gets that far north, it's spread pretty wide on the road. So these drainage improvements reduce the ponding in the road and improve safety that way. There's also traffic signal upgrades that are due. Adds radar, signal head upgrades, audible buttons, pedestrian heads. We're also utilizing the leading pedestrian interval, which gives pedestrians longer time to cross the street. And longer mast arms for the hawk signals. There's a couple hawk signals on Cougar Lane and upgrades to the hawk signals themselves. So you can see these are the pieces of right-of-way that we're acquiring as part of the project. One of them is from Salt Lake County, so we don't actually need to acquire that, but estimated $395,000 in right-of-way. So we're at just over 60% design right now. 90% PSE&E design is due September 3rd. And then we have some right-of-way acquisitions. So the timeline after that is starred. We're expecting to advertise the project March 3rd and to go to bid opening on April 1st. Like I said, I guess you could see the street view there. The slope that comes down to 5415 south, that's looking south. There's slopes on both east and west sides of the road that come in pretty steep, and to widen that road is I guess, challenge and additional costs to do that. So this is funded with an STP grant of $2.3 million, with Kearns contributing over $500,000 for a total of about $2.8 million in funding. Okay. And then we can turn it over to the mayor for talk about community benefits.
Yeah, so this project actually came up a few years ago after we were seeing several rear end accidents. Just as people were turning off 5400 South onto Cougar Lane. As Chad had stated, that this road is heavily traveled. So we do have the high school there. We have Kearns Park and Rec. We also have Salt Lake County Recreation Center and then the Olympic Oval. So this road is heavily traveled all hours of the day. As people were coming off 5400 South, we have students that were crossing to the seminary building. We do have existing hawks there now. However, we were seeing impatient drivers that were not coming to stop for the pedestrians. So we've had pedestrian accidents. We've had rear end accidents there. And then we've also had cars hit bike riders because they were not able to share the lane. The lane was intersecting with the existing bike lane that's there now. A few years back, we working with Salt Lake County Engineering, we had come out, we had a geological study done. And because we were hoping that ideally we wanted to widen those lanes right there, geological study came back and said it was going to be some significant challenges with that. We then went and met with WFRC and UDOT, and as always, being the heroes that they are, came out with us and Salt Lake County Engineering, went to a site visit, and they have walked us through all of this to really shape, as Chad has said, has really helped us shape this and bring this all together to make this workable and make it much safer for everybody. Where now the community will be able to actually share this and keep that much safer for all the pedestrians. We do see all modes of traffic over here. from pedestrian to bike to automobile. So with these improvements, what we are ideally what we're hoping and what we know we're going to see is we'll see the improved drainage from there, where we're not going to have the standing water that we have seen in the past. And so with that, we're hoping that that's going to extend the life on the road and the gutter and everything else. So it's going to cut the maintenance costs that we've got there right now. The economic benefits will be there. We'll have the shared paths and bike lanes. It'll create more opportunities for social interaction. The inclusive mobility, again, we're not going to be having the issues where the bike riders and the automobiles are going to have a difficulty sharing the paths. The environmental impact will definitely be very much improved. We're not going to have the backing up of traffic onto 5400 South, trying to make that left-hand turn, as well as on Cougar Lane, trying to make that right-hand turn onto 5400 South. So that's going to be a significant improvement. And then also the overall health and safety of our automobile drivers and bike riders and pedestrians. So that's going to be the overall safety. So once again, I mean, you know, we value this ongoing partnership with WFRC, with UDOT, with everybody, because this, honestly, this project, I don't think would have come to shape without this ongoing partnership and without us being able to go to you guys and say, you know, having these site visits and saying, you know, how can we make this work? We're excited for this project to be completed and get this going over here. So I want to thank all of you for helping us on this.
Thank you. Any questions? Happy to take any questions. All right, hearing none. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chad. Appreciate it.
I'm just really thrilled, Mayor and Chad, that we were able and are able to be helpful to you. It's great to hear you feel that way. And I know it makes a difference, you know, in your community. And it's just an example of all of the things you all are doing in your community. So glad to hear that, Mayor. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Well, let's hear about one more. I know we've got Joellen Grandy from Layton City. I don't know who you brought with you. I could not remember who.
Yes, I'd be happy to introduce us. It's a pleasure to be here, Mr. Chair. Thank you for this opportunity. So I'm Joellen Grandy. I am the city landscape architect for Layton City. My job duties include planning all the parks, trails, and open space for the city, which includes also active transportation. Here with me today is Mindy Hunsaker. She's from our engineering department, and her role is over traffic and safety. And then I also am just extending our mayor's, Joy Petro. She unfortunately could not be here. 4th of July is coming up soon, and the time for this meeting was at the exact time she needed to meet with to award the grant to Marshall. So she's sorry she can't be here, but I'll do my best without her. So we're here to present a project that we are currently working on. It's the Case Creek Trail pedestrian overpass at the Layton Frontrunner Station. And to start out my project, I have a little video for you. It's probably not as good as the www.wfrc.org movie that you're going to watch, but I've got a short video that introduces the concept of what we're doing, and then I have a little presentation after that. So I have a PowerPoint that I'll share with you. But the Case Creek Trail is a very unique trail in Layton City. It travels on a northeast to southwest alignment. Basically, it does a cross section throughout the whole city. It also will provide connections into our neighboring communities to the north, South Weber, and then Clearfield, Syracuse, of course, are to the north. And then in our south, we have Kaysville. So this trail is not only important for our community, but it also will connect our neighboring communities as well. Do I just push the green button? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, so on the east side of Layton, the Case Creek Trail has a very mountainous kind of feel to it. It's quite amazing to be in the city and feel as though you're not in the city. And this same trail system goes all the way to the west end with the finished project of the West Davis corridor and the introduction of the West Davis Trail. This trail system that we're working on with the Case Creek Trail now connects into that and will take you all the way out to the shorelands. And so we have these wonderful bookends on either end of the city. And then in between all of that is our lives. We come and we live in these beautiful areas, and we have to find jobs and to be able to go shopping and to have a place to live, and then also to find a quality of life and release from our day-to-day. And the Layton Front Runner Station is basically in the middle of our city. It's a wonderful connection. We're very grateful for this connection that we have. And this is the project that we're talking about today, is the area that's circled in red. The Case Creek Trail, as you can see, it's the yellow one that goes from the northeast down to the southwest. And the Layton Front Runner Station is really the connection of being able to get from the east to the west in our city. In this area, it's a transit-oriented development. We have a lot going on here. There's a lot of revitalization that we're working on to bring some new life into downtown Layton. We have a hospital district that's been built there, and recently in the left-hand side, we've had some housing added, apartments, an assisted living center, a Tanner clinic. And then if you go to the right-hand side, we are presently working on a new redevelopment, which will include some multi-use housing. And then within all of that, we have the Case Creek Trail, which is really the connection for all of that and for active transportation uses. The project scope for this is to build a pedestrian bridge, which will connect everyone from the east side over to the west. We have a barrier with the UTA Railway and also the Union Pacific Railroad. And so this is a critical and a very important project to build a bridge it together. It'll include a pedestrian bridge with a structure, elevators, stairs, lighting, and then the trail connections themselves. Right now in our project, we are at the design stage with hiring on Kimley Horn. We're about at 50% with them. And we're working through the design documents. And at the bottom, you'll see a cross section. We are very grateful for partnerships. We've long ago, before this project even began, we knew we needed to have partnerships to be able to help this happen. UTA has been a great project, or a great partner with us. We've been working very closely with staff, and they've been very supportive in helping guide us through this project. And then also just with developers on the left-hand side, we had to secure right-of-way early on while they were building their project. And we were able to secure a landing pad with the multi-housing development that was going on. So this is a snip of what we're working on right now. You'll see on the right-hand side of the screen, that's where the UTA Front Runner Station is. The trail will continue along that north end, and then we have stairs or an option of an elevator to be able to get across the railway corridor. And then on the left-hand side of the screen, it will land down right next to a housing apartment area, an assisted living area where the trail is there and continues up to the north and then curls and heads out west. So that's a where we are right now. We have a rendering right now. It's very conceptual, but very simple design, which we like. I think it's very classic and simple. But again, you can see the stairs and the elevators and then the overpass there, which lands on the other side. I was asked to speak about our partners in this project. We have multiple partners, one of which I'll just go down the line, which we have UDOT, which has been a wonderful project partner with us as well. We were able to secure active transportation program grant with them. Wasatch Front Regional Council, we thank you. We had some CMAQ funds that are helping considerably with this project as well. We also have Layton City participating in this through our Prop 1 and ramp funds. And then we also have the county here who has been helping us, and we are grateful for their third quarter sales tax use to support it as well. We have also been reaching out to the state with the Utah Outdoor Recreation Grant and the Recreational Trails Program Grant. So you can see there are a lot of hands joining together to be able to do this project, which I could say most firmly we would not be able to do on our own. As of today, we've been able to secure about $9 million for the overpass. And so, as I mentioned, we're just in the design phase right now. We're working on that this year, and then we do need to gather a little bit more funding as we've been developing the project. Costs have increased, so we're seeking more funding, but as we're able to secure that last bit to close the gap, we hope to begin construction tentatively next year. Anyway, with that, is there any questions? And I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joel. Appreciate it. It's a great project. It's fun to see the projects coming together. You know, we sit in here and approve a lot of things and don't often get as many reports back to see what's happening. So it's really kind of cool to get those reports. So appreciate both of you doing that. That really brings us to the end of our agenda. Our next Transcom meeting will be Thursday, August 15th. Same time, same place. Any other items that we need to bring up today? Okay, seeing none, and entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. So move.
We got a couple of them. You get them, Andrea? Okay, we are done. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.